Hello, my name is Justin. In today's project, my topic is decolonization. And the reason I chose this topic is very simple. I am from a background region where we've been colonized for a very long time. I understand the pain, I understand the negative effects that colonization can cause to a generation, to a nation in whole. The same case with indigenous people. When the settlers came in what we now know as Canada, indigenous people were already living in the land. And one of the things that the settlers did, they confiscated their language, they erased their culture, and took away their land by force. And some of the ways that were used, which we now know, is residential schools. Residential schools were not just schools where people can learn practical knowledge, wisdom, and schools of art. No, it wasn't. It was a tool designed specifically to erase the identities of indigenous culture, indigenous language, and indigenous identity. The best way to put it, it was designed specifically to kill the Indian inner child. In other words, to kill that personnel of Indian in the person, to kill that specific identity and implant something else. And for that reason, we've seen that many children were forced to speak English and French. And when they would speak their language, they were harshly punished, beaten, and treated badly. Some others were even sexually abused. So it was really a painful tragedy. Following one of the survivors' interviews, you could see tears while narrating the story of residential schools, something that we will consider an advantage of learning, but it was really unlearning. They were unlearning their identity. They were unlearning their values. They were unlearning who they were. And they were embracing something else that they were not. So, relying on the words of Professor Jared, the professor of the University of Victoria, he stated different ways that indigenous people can follow to attain decolonization fully. One of the ways is learning the language that they have lost, getting back to their roots, the culture that they have lost. And the third way will be indigenous having their own governance, Recently, I was listening to Prime Minister Kani speaking at Davos conference, and he said that if you are not around the table, then you are on the table. So indigenous people have been on a table for a very long time where other people were making decisions for them. But I believe in this pathway to decolonization, it is time where indigenous people will be around the table, making the laws that favors the who they are, that aligns with their beliefs, deciding what their future would be without someone else deciding for them. So that is the journey to decolonization. I believe with following that pattern, indigenous people can achieve it very much.